Hey, my fellow professionals and leaders. We're in a new year. We're in the beginning. We're in a new season. It don't matter what time that you checked out this video, there's always a new season or horizon upon us. So I thought it was really important that we start to shift how we look at work. Y'all know, if you've been following me for a while, that I believe in careers on purpose, getting people on purpose. And normally what comes with that is that people enjoy the work that they do every day. So many of us, especially our older generations, who have just been okay with a mediocre work style, or just kind of treading the by and by till it's time for retirement. And I absolutely do not believe in that at all. So I believe that work can be enjoyable, but many of us are approaching this process from the outside in. So when I find that culture and those people and this kind of work, then I will enjoy what I do. And there's some truth to that, but only a partial truth. So there's other ways that we can help be a part of the solution to make work enjoyable. So here are 5 tips that I've come up with to make the work you do enjoyable. For the first tip, you got to start with taking care of yourself. This whole process, this whole scenario starts with you coming from the outside in. Even if you got a fun job and there are slides in the cafeteria and they cater food every Friday. I used to work for a company, by the way, that used to cater pizza every Friday. And I'm a Chicagoan, and it was one of the top 3 quote unquote deep dish pizza places every Friday. Loved it. It was the best thing ever. But if I'm not happy within myself, if I'm not happy within my life, one, I might start to feel entitled to these things, right? Or I might not be able to appreciate them. So your capacity for enjoyment is going to come from the inside out. So your personal depletion, if you're depleted in other areas of your life, whether that's spiritually, whether that is in your own growth and promotion, relationally, emotionally, that will drain an otherwise great environment, a great culture. Not to mention, you kind of bring it down a little bit. So the very first thing before we can start thinking about work being enjoyable is, are you enjoyable? Are you a happy person? And working on that, you just start to see things more. You have a capacity for enjoyment. So check yourself, check your happiness meter, check your joyous meter before you start evaluating whether your company or your culture is going to bring you enjoyment. The second thing that I tell you to do is to attach your work to a bigger life goal. I find that people don't enjoy work when it's compartmentalized. I'm not saying that work should be everything you do. And we are now in this place where we are moving away from work-life balance and moving towards work-life integration, right? Especially for my millennials and Gen Zers. But what big goal do you have in life? Is it to travel across the world for 6 months? Is it to help a certain organization or help a certain group of people in need? Is it to just vacation on all of the continents of the world? Whatever your goal is, how does your work contribute to that? Because if you keep compartmentalizing it, it's going to seem like something that's in a way, an obstacle and not a supplement on the way to what you're trying to achieve in life. So think bigger, think broader. We can't just put work in this little bitty box if we want to enjoy it. The third thing that I would recommend for you to start enjoying work is to build strategic relationships. Yes, networking is super important. And I talk about this, especially from our introverts who we hear the word networking and we just want to go and crawl into a corner somewhere. But it's important. And there's different ways of doing it. You can check out my blog and I have a video about that as well for networking for introverts. But strategic relationships. So as you're in the workplace, in the work environment, starting to work with people, build a team, work with a team, support a team, be intentional about these relationships. These are not just people that happen to do the same things that you do or occupy the same spaces you do, but people who you can build something together. You have a likeness to each other. You have similar values so that when you're building these relationships, even if you depart, someone leaves the company, can you reach back to that person and ask questions, whether it's for mentorship or guidance, or if it's for them to tap into their networks? one of the greatest gifts you can give your career is connections, and genuine connections, not transactional connections with people. So build strategic relationships, strategic meaning intentional, being mindful of what you can give and what you can receive from a person, and then knowing what that is for yourself. So as you matriculate and climb up the career ladder, you can start to tap on people for different things. Now, the fourth thing that you need to do to start enjoying your career is to prioritize your professional development. You can't enjoy something when you're, like I said before, your capacity is so small. You are responsible for your own development, whether your company is providing something for you or not. Now, as you know, I'm always advocating for training and development, and that what you learn on the job is something that you could apply to your personal life. And I help companies and organizations be able to do that. But it's got to start with you. You can't wait for that annual team gathering or training, or you can't wait for a company to realize, okay, professional development is important, because they may be doing things that's in the best interest of the company, and that might not be in the direction that you are trying to go or grow ultimately. So I would say be clear on where you're trying to go. How do you want to spend your time 5 years from now? Meaning, what is it you want to be doing? Who is it that you want to support and help? And then start to look at how you can fill in the gaps for your soft skills and hard skills to grow in that area. But take charge of your professional development. Don't just leave it in the hands of a company or a leader. And then the last thing that I would say to make work more enjoyable is to expand your personal life and your hobbies. We love people that are so gung-ho about their work and they are the personal cheerleader for the company. But when the rest of your life is choked out because you're not spending any time in these other areas, then you can only enjoy so much of the work, because it can't take up your 24 hours. At some point you have to sleep. At some point you have to eat, and maybe have conversations with other people in your life that aren't work. Spend some time in that, invest in that, light up other areas of your brain, light up other areas of your heart, to just have another source of excitement, of learning, of applying your talents, gifts, and passions. Is just as important. So if you're finding that you feel dull or bored, or you don't really have enough or something to look forward to, then spend time in play. Whether it's picking up a video game. If I could be honest, I used to play a lot of games when I was a kid, and then I got to this point where I was working. Honestly, through 2023, I worked 7 days a week, at least 40 of the 52 weeks. But after my brain had shut off, basically, I started getting into my hobbies. I started to allow myself to have a space for play. And it's really just contributed to my overall well-being, for also to me being more creative, for me connecting with new people. And it just made me a happier person, right? So ultimately, it is the gift that keeps on giving back to you. All right, well, that's all I got. If you have other ones, I'd love to hear about them. But I encourage you, take the lead on these things, start to put them in practice, and look at your life and your career 6 months from now, after you've been consistent, and see how maybe life got a little bit lighter. You got a little bit closer to your bliss. It got a little bit rosier, or where the sense of anxiety, tension, and pressure got a little bit lighter. Trust me on this. And I will see you in the next video.